Good afternoon, good afternoon. Somebody needs to cling a glass for me if there's any glass in this room. So can I have everyone's attention, please? Please, please, as we think about the afternoon coming rapidly to a close, as only Landmark can do. Program's a great afternoon where we're going to finish with some vibrancy. We're going to finish with some vibrancy, and we're going to talk about the future. I'm Cinny Kennard. I'm the executive director of the Annenberg Foundation. We are based in the extremely vibrant city right now of Los Angeles. I am so proud, on behalf of our chairman, Wallace Annenberg, to be here today because we're passionate about leveraging technology to drive social impact in communities. We think that we've had a great day today, and we're really looking forward to moving on to this last panel, which is Inspiring the Future. But I want to say a word about the future before we go any further. So without saturating you with this topic, I have to remind all of us of the speech of the week. So here's how it went. A new day is on the horizon. And when that day comes, it will be done with magnificent women and phenomenal men. Now, I'm not plagiarizing that speech, everybody. I'm just using that phenomenal men part to pay tribute to Zeev from Landmark today, who we all know and is pretty darn spectacular. I have to say, it's been a long time since I've sat in a room with such gender balance. I mean that, gender balance, with such diversity and inclusion, whatever you want to call it. Congratulations, Zeev, for your leadership at the top of an organization that has a room that looks like America. Thank you very, very, very much. So let me say a few words about the Annenberg Foundation, and then we'll get to our panels. So the Annenberg Foundation was founded in the last century through a fortune made in visionary communications. So communications has always been a focus of this great, great foundation. So that multi-billion-dollar fortune was then given out throughout our nation and throughout the world. And it was given in areas like higher education. The University of Pennsylvania has an Annenberg School for Communications. The University of Southern California has an Annenberg School for Communications. Arts and culture, a huge footprint, from the Museum of Modern Art in New York to a local artist on the streets of Los Angeles, supporting that artist to get into the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, through leadership, through us paying for the leader of the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Through, in so many ways, health and communications, to underserved communities, to the Annenberg Retreat at Sunnylands, which is the Camp David of the West, where President Obama met with Xi Jinping not so long ago at that place out in Rancho Mirage, California. And just recently, because I know everybody in this room likes current events, we have spent an extraordinary amount of time in responsive grant making. We gave to this city $1 million in the aftermath of that terrible tragedy. I was just on the phone in the last hour because the Thomas Fire Fund in California has now become the Thomas Fire and Flood and Mudslide Fund. And the Annenberg Foundation was the lead grantee in that fire fund. We gave $400,000 to the victims and the first responders. So we do a lot of responsive grant making, and we've done too much of it this year, guys. This nation's really faced a lot of challenges, although I would say we have stepped up as a country in an incredible way, whether it was people in lines giving blood in this city, whether it was people carrying each other in Houston. We did an incredible job as a nation responding to these awful tragedies. So anyway, we've been busy with all of that, and why are we here today? Well, we're here today because, as I said, the fortune was made in communications, vision. We are very much tracking what's happening in the future of our city, and Los Angeles at this moment is having its moment. It is arguably the most vibrant place in the country right now, from top to bottom, whether it's our investment in arts and culture as a city, whether it is our excitement with a tech startup community that is leading the country and in many ways leading the world. And so the Annenberg Foundation, thinking about its future in philanthropy, said, we have to respond to this new city. So we sat down together and we said, how do we use all of these Annenberg Foundation archives, all of our capacity building that we've done, and help? Just put our hand up in a non-threatening way to the tech community and say, guys, how can we help you think about what your philanthropy is going to look like and how you're going to be the civic leaders of tomorrow? So we launched Annenberg Tech, and it had 3 tenets basically, and one was thought leadership, one was capacity building, and one was pilot partnerships. Quick word about the leadership part. We brought in speakers. We asked the tech community, come to the Annenberg Foundation. And guys, our conference room, there wasn't a seat available because the kids from Snap and the people from Me Too and Tastemade and some of the great startups that are going on in Los Angeles came into that room to hear about how they could help. The millennials are eager, at least the ones in Los Angeles that we're dealing with, to hear what we have to share to help inform them how they can give back. The other part of this was pilot partnerships. We've brought Games for Change into Los Angeles. My number 2, the senior director at the foundation, Allison Holmes, is with me here today. It was her brilliance that brought Games for Change into the classrooms in Los Angeles schools. We've got game designers in over 20 schools teaching kids, underserved communities, how to do game design so that they can get jobs in our city in some of these tech companies. We're going to sponsor the Tech Fair with Mayor Eric Garcetti in a couple of weeks, and we're going to bring underserved kids from community colleges, not just USC and UCLA, into the LA Tech Fair in a workforce development program we have and a skills. And finally, capacity building. We have 57,000 homeless people on the streets of Los Angeles. 57,000. And anybody who's been there recently knows, while it's our most vibrant moment in that city, we also have some of our greatest challenges. So we are doing things like bringing the tech community into the Annenberg Foundation in conversation with those that are working on the homeless problem. We are bringing them in. Snap wanted a particular gathering around arts education, with its leadership at Snap troubled by the fact that there is a diminishing amount of arts education available in our schools. So we made that gathering available to them through Annenberg Tech. So that's what we're busy with these days at the Annenberg Foundation related to the tech industry. And I just anecdotally have to tell all of you that I was sitting at lunch with some of you, and I'm going to say it again. It is not without our attention that our endowment has gone up considerably this year because the Dow Jones Industrial Average has gone up as well. And what's driving that average is tech. And so our traditional philanthropists, our sector in this country, has to recognize that we have to connect with that sector. It's the future of our country. It's helped driving the markets. It's always, every day, for the last 3 weeks, for the last 6 months, when the Dow is explained, it's explained because tech is driving that market. So we, as philanthropists, have to be part of this, part of the connecting, part of bringing the networks together. So I'm thrilled to be here today because you know what? You're teaching me. And we want to engage with you. So please, I hope we can find some time, if I haven't on a one-on-one basis, talk to some of you. We're here. Allison's here with me. We're here to talk to you. So let's get this show on the road. The first part of this, the future of jobs. So I'm happy now to introduce to you, first of all, Casey. Casey, come on up here. Casey Aiden Wansbury from Airbnb. Shord Gehring from Johnson & Johnson. Let's give them a hand. Thanks, guys. And it is my pleasure to introduce the moderator of the panel, Andrew Keene. Andrew, an entrepreneur and an author. Welcome. There you go, guys.